Pope Francis is one that doesn't mince his words, so I'm sure he'll take the opportunity, if he can, to meet with Vance. And, in February, just a month and a half ago, he sent a letter to US bishops expressing severe concern over, the Trump administration's immigration policies. And so, he's basically been implicitly challenging Vance's attempts to use the Catholic doctrine to justify the crackdown, which has been the case. So yes, I'd imagine that he will not be mincing his words if he does meet with Vance. He will take the opportunity to use that meeting to the benefit of the more the marginalized in society, as is usually the case with him.
Good morning. This is 3 minutes past 11, and this is Harry Wallop sitting in for Ed Vasey. American Vice President JD Vance has arrived in Rome for talks with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and Vatican officials to discuss shared economic and geopolitical priorities, by which they really mean tariffs. Meloni has just got back from Washington after a trip which her aides have described as a commercial peace mission. So what is Vance's visit all about? Italian journalist Alina Trabattoni is here to tell us. Alina, good morning. So what can we expect from Vance being in Rome?
Good morning, Harry. Well, it's a significant diplomatic trip. Obviously, it comes very close in the wake of Meloni's visit to the US yesterday, her meeting with Trump. Now, what we can expect are two main things. One is the meeting with Italian Premier Meloni, and second meeting with top Vatican officials tomorrow with Parolin, the Vatican Secretary of State. Now, it has to be said that he's actually arrived with his wife, Osha, and there are 3 young children. So we can also expect, it seems, a visit to the Colosseum and a bit of family time as well. So that's quite nice. They arrived this morning early in Ciampino Airport in Rome, and they're staying at Villa Taverna, which is the residence of the US ambassador in Rome. And as you can imagine, security is dramatically enhanced across Rome. Rome is already packed with Easter tourists, Jubilee year pilgrims. So we're seeing, Italian authorities deploying snipers on strategic buildings and establishing no-fly zones and the like, and lots of road closures and things like that. So we start today with a lunchtime meeting with Premier Giorgia Meloni, and then in the afternoon, a meeting with the Vatican Secretary of State.
And Alina, one of the things we know about JD Vance is that he converted to Catholicism back in, I think, 2019. He's quite a strict Catholic. I presume he's angling for a meeting and a photo opportunity with the Pope himself.
Yes, you'd imagine so. I mean, he converted aged 35, so that's quite extraordinary. Obviously, it's one of the most intriguing questions that's hanging over this visit. Will he have an audience with Pope Francis? I mean, Pope Francis was just recently released from hospital after having spent over a month there with very severe double pneumonia. And, it was really touch and go in some moments. And doctors have urged him to have absolute rest as a sort of recovery process. And so there's nothing official scheduled, as there was nothing officially scheduled for King Charles and Queen Camilla when they were here last week. But as in their case, we may have some surprises coming up. I mean, if he is up for it, he does seem to be interested in meeting with, the top, the number 2 in the US that's coming through Rome, at least according to Vatican sources. But we need to see what happens. I mean, obviously, such a meeting would carry powerful symbolic weight, both politically and personally, for JD Vance.
And does the Pope has made his feelings very clear about deportations, that they're sort of an insult to the dignity of men and women and families. Is he politically astute enough to put that to one side and nonetheless meet with the Vice President, who's quite happy shipping people abroad?
Well, Pope Francis is one that doesn't mince his words, so I'm sure he'll take the opportunity if he can to meet with Vance. And, in February, just a month and a half ago, he sent a letter to US bishops expressing severe concern over, the Trump administration's immigration policies. And so, he's basically been implicitly challenging Vance's attempts to use the Catholic doctrine to justify the crackdown, which has been the case. So yes, I'd imagine that he will not be mincing his words if he does meet with Vance. He will take the opportunity to use that meeting to the benefit of the more the marginalized in society, as is usually the case with him.
Yes. And what does the Italian media make of Meloni's relationship with Trump and Trump's White House? Because she's sort of trying to very cleverly position herself as a link person between the EU, hit by, potentially very large tariffs, and the US. How's that going down in Italy?
Well, obviously, the centre-right coalition party and supporters are very, very pleased about it. They're talking about, her being a Trump whisperer and perhaps being the bridge between Europe and the US in this very complex and tense geopolitical moment. Opposition is slamming her, obviously, as one can imagine, for, a variety of things, including her commitment to buying, US LNG for Italy, saying that, that's a very costly measure. We should be buying gas, LNG gas from closer shores, as it were, and also slamming her for having committed to large corporate investments to be made by Italian corporates in the US. But, one thing for sure, the media is full of news cover on yesterday's meeting, on her visit with Trump, on Trump being so effusive and happy about the visit, calling her exceptional and saying, what a fantastic job she's doing and how Europe is, being taken by storm by her. So, whether she's being criticized or whether she's being actively applauded for yesterday's visit, she is all over the front pages.
Well, thank you very much indeed. It'll be fascinating to see how that plays out. JD Vance in Rome. Alina Trabattoni, thank you for your time.
President Trump, how confident are you, sir, you can make a trade deal with the EU? Your message to Italy, sir. Your message to Italy. Prime Minister Meloni, can you make a deal? Trade deal, right?